not like we forgot the technology. There is a certain disconnect with the way that they understand the world emotionally because they grew up interacting with the technological world different than us. Make the world more beautiful on your own. It requires that action every day. It's not just one thing. It's constantly doing it, and you're always participating in the beautification of the world.
W, welcome to the show. Thank you for joining me.
Thanks for having me.
I would be lying if I said you haven't been an incredibly positive influence on my life, particularly in the last year or two. I've been following you on X, Necktie Salvage, and you've influenced me to buy more Oxfords, one of which I'm wearing today.
Fantastic. I'm glad to hear that. I'm always glad to hear that.
We have a mutual friend in Michael Goldstein, Bitstein, as he's famously known as in the Bitcoin space, and he's been sharing your content with me, telling me for years to follow you and really dig into what you're doing. And I think the two of you and Michael and I have a shared appreciation for bringing back better aesthetics in the world. And your focus is on making sure that men particularly dress well. Why is this so important to you?
Well, aesthetics matter. So there's a couple of things here. First, I'm going to preempt the critique about aesthetics mattering. The critique is, well, listen, if you focus so much on aesthetics, you miss the moral concern, you miss the values, all that sort of stuff. And I understand where that's coming from. But what we need to understand is that when we focus on aesthetics, whether it's clothing or houses or whether it's design or anything, we aren't focusing on this in a materialistic way. We're not focusing on this in a flippant way. It's not a shallow way. It's about a deeper thing. It's about that which makes our lives better. It's about that which makes our lives more enjoyable to live. It's about that which reflects our values. It's about that which makes men and women, boys and girls, greater. And for clothing, all men wear clothing. We are not animals. We don't walk around naked. So every guy wears clothing. Doesn't matter if you are rich, poor, somewhere in the middle, whatever you are doing, whatever job you're doing, you are wearing clothes. I guess unless you're a lifeguard, then you're not wearing clothes, but not many people are lifeguards. So you are wearing clothes. They have an impact on your life, and you wear them 24/7. You wear them all the time. Unless you're taking a shower, you're wearing clothes. Or sleeping, I guess. You're wearing clothes. And so these things are with you all the time. They impact us even more consistently than, say, architecture. Because if you don't like the way a building looks, you leave the building. Or you move from building to building, but your clothes follow you wherever you go. And so why I focus on clothes so much is that it is completely scalable, essentially. Every guy makes these choices every morning. Every guy is impacted by his clothes, whether he realizes it or not. And those clothes say something to himself and the world at the same time.
And it feels like, particularly, I would say, so I'm a 90s child. I was born in 91, 34 right now. So I feel like late 90s, early 2000s, you sort of had this transition to like pajama pants in Walmart became normalized, and slovenly looks became more normalized over the last 2.5, 3 decades. Mm-hmm. What do you think drove this, and why do you think people feel comfortable dressing poorly?
That's a really good question. I mean, this is a really, really good question. It's really related to so much, because think about this like a chicken and the egg scenario. Think about clothes. They impact the culture, and then they're a reflection of the culture as well. They impact either an ascent or a descent in society and in one's life, and they also create it as well. So I think it's like a snowball falling down the hill. So why would it be in the past couple decades, and it's really increased recently? I mean, past 5-10 years, it's gotten exceedingly bad, even in more formal jobs and occupations. So why would that be? I think we've seen just a broad degeneration culturally. We've seen a confusion culturally. We've seen a loss of clear mission and purpose civilizationally. And I think we see that reflected in our clothing. The state of man, the clothes make the state of man, and they reflect the state of man. So as man, both as human and as man, the man versus the woman have been degraded and downgraded in society and culture. So have the clothes been degraded and downgraded in culture as well.
And going back to chicken and egg, ascent, descent, is it your belief that by picking the low-hanging fruit of simply dressing better, you can begin to present better yourself and then create like a social awareness that creates a positive feedback loop to get us out of this negative one.
Absolutely, 100%. I mean, we all know this. I mean, think about it with your space. If your space is super, super messy, if your room is just a total hellhole, if it looks just absolutely awful, you're going to kind of be scattered and you just don't feel that good. You really don't. Nobody really feels better in a crazy, messy place. Everybody feels a little better when it's clean. Every single guy I've met, I have never met a single guy ever who started putting on decent clothes and who said, I didn't notice any difference in my mindset shift, in how I approached my work, and how I approached my day, in how I thought about myself. You know, I mean, think about that. When you care about something, you prepare for it, right? Whether it's a test, whether it's a holiday, whether it's seeing family, whether it's a date, you know, if you're dating, whatever it is, when you care about something, you prepare for it. If you're not preparing for your day, you're just rolling out of bed in pajama pants and a t-shirt, you don't really care about your day. You don't really care about yourself. You don't really care about how things are going. And so without a doubt, when people make an active choice in cultivating, wearing something that makes them feel, it's a very simple language, feel good, feel better. And I mean good, I don't mean good like, yeah, it'd feel nice to lay in the hot tub all day and then not work. That'd feel pretty good too. But it's not actually good. That's just being lazy. When people wear something that makes them feel strong, competent, and confident, that trickles upward. They are strong, confident, and competent, and they act in that way. And it's, like I said, it's a choice that we make every day, and every guy can make it. There are, 400 million people in America? It's 100 million people in America. If everybody started dressing a little better, that it rises things. It really does. There's this, it not only in the appearance, but also in the spirit and how you feel about what you're doing.
Yeah, and just thinking, like, it does seem like who knows if it's internet culture, the combination of things, but the reflection of what people are wearing on society, what's reflecting what probably really doesn't matter. But you've seen this sort of degradation in civility.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Big time.
As well.
Oh, yeah. This is such a good point. I mean, civility and manners are related to dressing. Absolutely. You know, I mean, think about this. You see, and this is tragic, this is sad, but nowadays people don't even dress up for funerals. I know that sounds crazy. And I know that maybe if you're listening to this, you've been to a funeral, people dressed up. But I hear stories. I mean, people talk to me about stuff. You know, I do this for a living. People tell me I went to a funeral and people were wearing Crocs. You know, like really. I mean, so if you're not dressing up for that, paying your respects, literally, I mean, that's what you say, I'm paying my respects. If you're not even dressing up for that, what are you doing when you're just going anywhere, going to the post office, working, going out to eat, anywhere? What does that say when you go to someone's house and you look like you were just sleeping? You don't really respect them. And so we've seen that in the entire society. It's this lowering of respect, this lowering of dignity and decency and civility. Without a doubt, clothing is a form of manners. It's like a physical form of manners, without a doubt, without a doubt.
Yeah. No, I guess my relationship to civility, manners, clothing has been a bit of a meandering path throughout my life. I'm from Philadelphia originally, but we moved to Charleston, South Carolina when I was younger, when I was about 9. Mm-hmm. We lived there for 4 years, and a Northeast Philly kid getting dropped in Charleston, South Carolina with a weird accent and totally foreign and uncouth dialect my mother made the wise decision of sending me to Cotillion right when we moved down there to learn basic manners and how to pronounce water correctly. And it's something that I honestly still, even though it was, 24, 25 years ago now, at this point, it's like, I think I did 2 years at Cotillion, and the lessons I learned there about manners and how to act in public still reflect, I like to think, on what I do to this day. And I think I've become more passionate about this particular topic as I've gotten older, more particularly since I've had children. I've got 2 young boys, a third child on the way.
Wonderful. Congratulations.
Thank you. And looking at the boys and thinking about what type of example I'm trying to set for them, I think clothing is something that is becoming more obvious to me as my boys try to reflect what I'm doing in terms of what they wear. And I think it's very important.
Absolutely. I mean, yeah, so this is all connected. This is all connected. And so many people that I work with and so many guys that follow me, read me, talk to me, they start thinking about this when they start having kids often. They start realizing, oh, my kids are going to look up to someone. You know, your kids, your boys and girls will learn from their mother, and your boys will learn from you what a dad looks like. You know, I remember my dad wasn't a clothes hound, you know, he wasn't buying tons of super expensive stuff, but he was he was from a certain era where, he would wear chinos, an Oxford shirt, a navy blazer, that kind of stuff to work. And when I remember being a kid, I just simply have this memory. I remember thinking, well, that's how a dad looks. A dad looks like that. That's how a dad looks, because that's what my dad wore. And now we're moving to this era where the dads don't even wear that, because our dads are a little older and they tend to dress a little bit better, you know? But now we're moving to this era where a lot of guys aren't picking up that mantle. They're not showing their children or their boys how to dress like that, or how to have manners, or how to behave like little men who grow into big men. And we're seeing it's connected to manners, just like you said. It's connecting to how to be a good man. It's connected to all this sort of stuff. And we're seeing a lot of problems there, to be honest with you.
Yeah. In terms of like fixing it, you mentioned your dad wasn't a clothes snob, but dressed well. I think that's something that is, how would I describe it? It's a lazy excuse for dressing better. It's too expensive. You need a wide variety in the closet to do it well and to do it correctly. No. Is this true?
No, not one bit. Okay, let me see. I'm going to pull up my watch here just to make a little demonstration. Let's see. Take my watch here. So this watch, it's a very nice watch. It looks it's this beautiful 1990s Timex. When you wear this, you feel like Harrison Ford in The Fugitive. It's very, very cool. It's extremely classic. This is classic style right here. This was $19 on eBay. $19. It's from like 1994 or something, before they did Indiglo. It still works. So that's not really expensive. It looks pretty nice. And same thing goes for, you can build a wardrobe. That's a super extreme example, but you can build a wardrobe from thrift. You can build a wardrobe just not from thrift, but buying new pieces that are on sale. A lot of people that build wardrobes from thrift, it's so possible. When I say thrift, I mean thrift store, Goodwill, and eBay as well. eBay is an insane source. Any guy who's into classic style, actually, we're talking as cheap as you want. Even guys who have money will buy stuff on eBay because there are a lot of jackets that they don't make anymore. You just cannot get them. The meme that we don't know how to make it anymore, that we don't know how to do it. So you can buy Brooks Brothers jackets that, there are a few places make them, but they're $1,000 new versus $75 on eBay. And so that's going used. But even if you don't go used, even if you go new, there are places you can source shirts that are $50, a little bit more, that are going to last you a decade or a little less. Same thing for pants, same thing for shoes that are $90. That is no more expensive than whatever slop people are wearing. But it's a conscious choice. You make this conscious choice. If you have $50K to spend on a wardrobe, you can spend that. If you've got $1K to spend on a wardrobe, you can spend that too, and you can still look great. I guarantee you.
Let's touch on this topic of quality, because that's something that does perturb me as well. Like, I went to high school between 2005 and 2009. I went to a prep school, so I had to wear a jacket, blazer, shirt, tie, belt, shoes, all of that, and even since then, like 16 years since I graduated high school, it feels like you can't get the same quality jackets specifically.
Yeah.
I've gotten a couple of suits and jackets from Suit Supply, and they look good, but the quality isn't that great. They degrade pretty quickly.
That's exactly right. Like with the Brooks thing, I have Brooks Brothers jackets that are from the 60s. That's like 60 years old at this point. I have jackets that are 60 to 75 years old, 65 years old, these jackets. And they hold up just great. They look basically brand new, and they don't make them like they used to. There is a big degradation in quality, for polo shirts, and guys wear polo shirts. I always recommend, honestly, if someone's like, I want to buy like a fleet of polo shirts for playing tennis or something like that. I honestly recommend going on eBay and buying an old Polo Ralph Lauren polo shirt from like 1995 or like 2001 rather than a new one, because it seriously it's a better weave. The fabric is literally better. It's sewn better and it will last longer. And so a big reason why people buy thrift is actually to remedy this problem of quality. And if you do want to get good quality, there are places that make good quality, but the problem is that it's a premium now. It's a real premium. There are some places that thread the needle that do real good stuff. I'm really happy with Proper Cloth. I get a lot of stuff from them. I have a partnership with them. But again, it's not super cheap. I mean, you're getting a custom shirt and it's $150. So I mean, that's not super cheap. But it's a problem. This quality is a problem. And this is why a lot of people do thrift. This is why I do thrift for a lot of stuff. It's because you can get better quality.
Do you see the potential for that to reverse at all? Because there obviously has to be a spot in the market for more quality. It is frustrating.
Absolutely. It's not like we forgot the technology. I mean, you can do it. You can build better stuff. You can make better stuff. There are good makers. I mean, you see people leading the way. You have to lead the way. Jack Donnelly. I love Jack Donnelly's pants. He makes these amazing, made in the USA, high-rise chinos. They're unbelievable. They're just hardcore, old school, great. A little pricier, but you have to have people leading the front, leading the charge. You have to incentivize better quality that's not made in a cheap factory in China or wherever, and make it in the USA is ideally better, I think.
Yeah. Yeah. It's how much does fast fashion and economic incentives have to do with this? I guess
big time. If something is only going to be in style for 4 months, you build it for 4 months. You make it last 4 months and you stitch it together with garbage thread and that's it. But classic style, timeless style, traditional style, you're supposed to wear it forever. I mean, you can wear it your entire life. A navy blazer, if you get a nice navy blazer, you can wear it for a decade, really decades. Same thing for Oxford shirts. So they're designed to last a long time. And so this reflects a different cultural sentiment, different values. People have crunched the numbers on this and seen how much people spent on clothes in the old days, 30s or something like that. They spent more per shirt and they had fewer shirts, but they lasted longer. I mean, this is odd. We all know this, but people have really done the numbers on it, that's just what it was.
I've been told that taste is subjective, though. How could fashion be timeless?
Right. The way I put it is this. So let's think about it this way. There are different style worlds. So, because I run into this a lot. For example, there's an Italian style. There's different schools. If we talk about classic style, when I say classic style, let's break it all. Let's go all the way back down. Classic style in an American sense and in a Western sense, in the most broad terms imaginable, it's a pair of shoes with a pair of pants, a shirt, and a jacket over it, and possibly something around your neck. That is something that's a formula that has been in the Western canon for centuries, really. That is now it's changed, at different times it was loose around here, it was bigger around here. At different times it was smaller. In a very micro sense, we saw there were eras where ties got skinny, like the mid-century, then they got wider, then they got skinnier again, they go back and forth. And when it comes to that stuff, if you stay around, this is a little insider baseball, but if you keep your tie at the widest point, if you buy ties that are around 3.25 inches at the widest point, you'll be right in the middle, and you'll basically never be super cool or super out of style. You'll be right up the gut, right in the middle. But this general thing, shoes, pants, shirt, jacket, and maybe something around your neck, this is the formula that has been in the Western canon for centuries. And so what I focus on and what I deal with, I should say one other thing. There are various schools like the Italian school, French school, English school. These have different styles. They have different little details that are different in terms of their neckwear, their shirts, what you do and you do not do. But what I focus on is American style and classic American style, modern American style, meaning in the 20th century sense, after we're getting into the early 1900s and moving forward to today. And that is Ivy style and preppy style is basically the heart and core of that. And that has essentially a set of not necessarily rules, but a presumption of how man looks best. And so that timeless style taps into those centuries old format that I described within within its own niche of American rules and guidelines and sensibilities.
Yeah.
Makes sense?
Yeah, it does. And it's funny because you mentioned architecture earlier, and that's part of the reason, not part of the reason, but again, being from Philly, we recently moved back to the Philadelphia area from Texas, and no matter where I went, I lived in South Carolina, beautiful architecture, Chicago, beautiful architecture, New York, beautiful architecture, but there's something about the stone builds in the Philadelphia area that really beckon to me, and that is timeless. Like, these are centuries old houses.
And they're authentically American too. You feel that American sensibility, they're timeless. There is this Americanness. A very American thing is the button-down collar is a very American thing. British will do it too, and other places will do it too, but it really has come to embody something about American style, the Oxford cloth button down, the OCBD, and specifically a tie with this. A lot of times the Europeans, they don't do that. They say you don't wear a tie with a button down collar. But in America, that's like a hot dog on the 4th of July, wearing a tie with a button down collar. And it is an interesting thing where it is classic in the American sense, and it is authentically American.
Sup, freaks? This rip of TFTC was brought to you by our good friends at Bitkey. Bitkey makes Bitcoin easy to use and hard to lose. It is a hardware wallet that natively embeds into a 2 or 3 multi-sig. You have one key on the hardware wallet, one key on your mobile device, and Block stores a key in the cloud for you. This is an incredible hardware device for your friends and family, or maybe yourself, who have Bitcoin on exchanges and have for a long time, but haven't taken the step to self-custody because they're worried about the complications of setting up a private public key pair, securing that seed phrase, setting up a PIN, setting up a passphrase. Again, Bitkey makes it easy to use, hard to lose. It's the easiest 0 to 1 step, your first step to self-custody. If you have friends and family on the exchanges who haven't moved it off, tell them to pick up a Bitkey. Go to bitkey.world, use the key TFTC20 at checkout for 20% off your order. That's bitkey.world, code TFTC20.
Sup, freaks? Guess what? We launched a browser extension. It's called Opportunity Cost, and it helps you see the true cost of everything in Bitcoin, convert prices to Bitcoin as you browse the web. Opportunity Cost automatically displays fiat prices in Bitcoin or sats, helping you think in a Bitcoin standard. It works on Amazon, Zillow, X, your bank account, QuickBooks. You can convert everything to Bitcoin. It's really cool. It's also 100% open source, MIT license. We don't collect any data. All of the conversions happen in your browser on your local device. It's a great way to recalibrate your life and begin thinking in sats. Go check it out at opportunitycost.app. That's opportunitycost.app.
What do you say to people who try to besmirch the comfortableness of dressing well? It's not comfortable.
This is a lie. It's a total lie. This is the problem. This is the problem. I understand where they're coming from with that. This is largely born from the slim fit era. So most of the guys, so I'll address two things. I assume this is coming from guys first. So I'll address it coming from guys. They are a legitimate gripe that they may be having. And I'll tell you about the illegitimate gripe second. But the legitimate gripe is the slim fit era did stink for comfortability. It really did stink. You had the slim fit era was kind of a little in the early 2000, maybe 2008-ish, 7-ish. I mean, people can like quibble back and forth about the exact times, but it started dying out maybe 2 years ago. And so we are on the downswing of it. Some people are still doing it because they aren't aware of where we're moving, but we're dying away from it. And the slim fit era, you had shirts that were just super tight. The pants were super tight. The suits were really undersized. People could barely even button their jacket. You could barely button their jacket. And that was what looked good, was this really ultra slim thing. It's very uncomfortable. It's extremely uncomfortable. I mean, on the thighs, you sit down, it's just ripping on your skin. It's not comfortable. And so that is a legitimate gripe. That is not comfortable stuff to wear. And so if you're wearing clothes that are too small, it's not going to be comfortable. The illegitimate gripe is that a lot of guys just sort of have like a fetish with comfort. They're just sort of whiners too. They're just whining about anything that is not a pair of fleece pajama pants or whatever they're made of in a hoodie. And I'm not going to argue with them and tell them that a 5-year-old pair of khaki chinos and a 10-year-old Oxford shirt that's been worn in that feels super soft is more comfortable than what they're wearing, because that might be a subjective argument. But I would say comfort is not what you should worship, and there is this sort of turning comfort into an idol.
Yeah, it can become gluttonous at a point, right?
For sure. Exactly. Absolutely. It's like sitting in the hot tub. I would love to sit in a hot tub all day and just respond on my phone to work, but what is that?
Yeah. Yeah. And it's not, I succumbed to it too. Like in the mid 2010s, living in New York, trying to work in tech. I think tech really drove that leisurely look at the workplace. Sort of craze that's taken over, and I don't know, I feel better now that I'm beginning to, and it's simple. The small acts I've taken is like try to wear a shirt with a collar. It's a golf shirt or an Oxford, just especially during the summer down here. Like even on the beach, it's like my beach shirts are either like an Oxford or a golf shirt. Yeah. These days, it's just simple thing.
So simple, so easy. It's no more difficult. It's no more difficult to do that.
And what would you say to people like, I'm saying that in the back of my head, I'm thinking, I hope I don't sound like a snob to people. Yeah. And I think that's another sort of factor in this acceptance of leisure wear becoming normalized is, I think, partly driven by woke culture, which had this Northeast prep aesthetic squarely in the bullseye of the target that is culturally for many decades. And I think there's just this attempt to avoid that aesthetic because you don't want to be put in the middle of the bullseye of the target of the social sort of ire that woke culture has really, really been driving.
Absolutely. 100%. The style. I mean, the style I focus on is literally that exact style. Ivy Prep. That is American style. That is. I always say, what is it? The 20th century American man was made in the image of Brooks Brothers, and then Ralph Lauren worked at Brooks Brothers. So all this flows down from there, and from the prep schools as well. J. Press is another one, but really Brooks Brothers was 20th century man was made in the image of Brooks Brothers, and so. This woke culture absolutely targets, that is right in the heart of it, because it is American style. It is authentic American style. And it has a decided history in America, a clear history. It's not just a commercial phenomenon. And it is also beyond just that historical stuff. And beyond it just being American and being Western, it's also makes men strong. Woke culture wants us all to be extremely weak, ultimately. It's a victim thing. It's a weak thing. It wants to make everyone blend together. Athleisure is androgynous clothing, really. A man wearing a tie and a woman wearing heels. Those are the thing I love about the tie and the heels or the jacket and the dress is that they are these extreme things that really embody or are a reflection of their being a man or being a man or being a woman. And so when you take those things away, you flatten everyone into Crocs like Idiocracy, and then everybody into the pajama pants. It is instead of exacerbating the forms of man and woman, it tries to form them together. And so you see this lessening of the forms of man and woman. And that is also a really deep problem of woke culture. That's what they go after. They really want to destroy all those forms.
Yeah. Well, let's dive into the necktie specifically. It's part of your handle on Necktie Salvage. Why is the necktie worth salvaging?
So it's really funny. So the name Necktie Salvage actually came from, or when I first started talking about all this and everything, originally what I would do with a lot of guys is I would tailor their neckties. So they'd have these old neckties that were like at 4 inches at width, the widest point down there. And they would want to bring them in a little bit. They don't bring them to 3.5 inches, 3.25 inches. And so I would tailor them because I do a lot of my own alterations of tailoring as well. And so that's actually where the original name Necktie Salvage came from, was from literally salvaging these old neckties. But why is the necktie worth, it's a one, yeah. We got a tie right here. Okay. So why I'm not wearing a tie right now because it is very hot in summer, and summer is a more casual season for me. I wear a tie basically probably in the winter, fall, and spring, maybe 75-80% of work days. But in the summer, I live in right on Lake Michigan, the town where I live. So it's kind of resorty. It's holiday. It's fun. So I'm a little more informal. But why is the necktie worth saving? So first of all, it's something that women don't wear. It is a male exclusive garment, really. And someone can say, I've seen a picture of a woman wearing it as a waitress in 1980. Yeah, I don't care. I'm not talking about that. It is a male garment. So it is a garment that is only ours. And a removal of that means the removal of something that is distinctly male. Another thing is, the necktie is about personality. I mean, it's not only the fabric or the design. This is a 1990s Polo Ralph Lauren, and I love these geometrics. They're just so 90s. It's hard to describe why that's so 90s, but it is. It's so good, and I love these. But and beautiful silk too. But what the necktie is also is it's a personal flair that isn't only based on the fabrics. It's not only based on the patterns. It's based on the fact that you tie it around. It is, in a certain sense, not utilitarian. You're not using it for anything. It doesn't serve a purpose. It's just to look like something. It's just for the aesthetic itself. And there's a joy in that. There's a joy in I'm cultivating a personal style. I am looking a certain way, and it doesn't have a purpose. And it's a domain of expression, even in how you tie it. Guys like me who are kind of more into this sort of stuff will tie it all sorts of weird ways. We'll tie it a little messy. We'll tie the skinny end longer than the fat end. And if you've never encountered that stuff, you're like, what the heck? That's wrong. But it has to do with this thing sprezzatura, where you're sort of intentionally doing things that are a little wrong, but not in such an obvious way. It's a whole thing to sort of, it's like a elegant sort of nonchalance. The point is, the necktie is an aspect of personal style and fun and experience. And our clothes have become very dour almost. I mean, if you look at it, like the black or gray athleisure is very dour compared to someone wearing a tie with a striped shirt and a jacket.
Yeah, I must admit I've gotten away from the necktie outside of formal events in recent years, and it is because going back to routine, which you mentioned earlier, being intentional to set your day. That's one thing, because the necktie, pop your collar, throw it around, and you're looking in the mirror doing it, and it's oftentimes before your jacket, the last thing you put on. Yeah. You step out and you're having a conversation with yourself and visualizing, manifesting potentially, if you will. And part of that process and routine, I think, is just good for developing that confidence and, more importantly, having a conversation with yourself. I don't know if that's coming off weird, but
no, it isn't. It is not coming off weird at all. I mean, that routine, in a way, getting ready, getting dressed as a man in that necktie, but the last thing you put on for your jacket. It's like a secular morning ritual. It's like a modern male secular morning ritual. And when I say modern, I'm not saying modern 2025. I'm saying modern in the modernist era, So it's it is almost a secular morning ritual, and you're preparing for your day. And there is something about the tighter, it's tight there and then it explodes out essentially. It's a tight knot and then it's loose. And there's a certain element of strong preparation with it.
Serious about your Bitcoin? Start acting like it. Unchained just launched the Financial Freedom Bundle, a curated pack that includes a premium Bitcoin book, a new hardware wallet guide, and access to a private macro event with Tur de Meester, legend. It's time to take control of your generational wealth. Go to unchained.com/TFTC to request yours. That's unchained.com/TFTC. Pretty hot package, freaks. Go pick it up.
What do you suggest people should read if they're interested about this?
Necktie Salvage.
Outside of your Substack, but are there books? Is there sort of jumping off points for people who may listen to this and be like, I want to dig into this? Obviously, read the Substack, Necktie Salvage, but are there books about these topics?
Yeah, there is. So there's a couple things. So I'm actually working on 2 books right now. Gosh, I have so much I'm doing, and it's I have all these books I'm writing. I need to just get one out. But one of them is essentially why do clothes matter? Just why does this matter? Why does this matter? The other one is basically a very beginner's guide, the idiot's guide kind of in a certain sense. Step 1, I'm building from the base up. When we build our wardrobe, we build like a pyramid. And so I'm writing this book that it's just getting guys started. This is what you need. Boom, boom. This is how you build it up. But apart from that, which will be coming out from me in my work, apart from that, there's something that would be good would be something like Bruce Boyer's True Style. Bruce Boyer has a book, True Style, and it's very good. It's American, because a lot of these, something that can be difficult with some of these books is they're either European, which is totally okay, but it's like a different language. French is a different language than English, so they're just different languages, or they're often a little formal, just a little more formal, which is cool. But a lot of guys don't wear formal clothes every day. And so what you really need, or what we need, and what most guys need, is how do you start dressing with intention without wearing a suit every day? And so Bruce Boyer does err a little bit on the more formal side. So you're going to have that. And I'm trying to fill that gap. When I come out with something, it'll fill that gap. But that's who I would recommend for an American, is check out Bruce Boyer's True Style.
All right. I got to pick that up.
It's good.
What are your thoughts on Gen Z? Like, do you have hope for Gen Z in terms of increasing civility? And to be fair, I run another show. We had a Gen Z month where we noticed that our demographics of our audience trended. It's like 35 to 40. Our core demo is like 35 to 65-year-old males, and we have no Gen Zs watching our show. And so we reached out to some in the Bitcoin space. We're like, come on, we need the Gen Z perspective. And it certainly did change my perspective. You can't lump one generation and think that all of them act the same way, though they do have certain cultural sort of similarities to the era they grew up in. But to me, before that series and the good Gen Zers that we had on the show, that whole culture is just driven by the high velocity trash economy, streaming culture, sort of supreme style streetwear.
Yeah.
Not even, like, a lot of them just wear sweatpants and sit at the computer and talk, and they have insane amounts of influence on their and other Gen Z individuals. And it's like, how do we turn the tide there? Is there a way?
It's a really good question. It's a really, really good question. I know the Zoomers, I can't get a handle on the Zoomers. I hope for the Zoomers. I want the Zoomers, because the Zoomers are the future. We've got the Zoomers. We've got them living. They're the future. I know a couple good Zoomers. And they're great. They're super, super great, but I know they're unique. I know they're very unique. For the mass amount of Zoomers, the only way, I don't know how to change them with this, because they look like slop. I think that there is a certain disconnect with the way that they understand the world emotionally, because they grew up interacting with the technological world different than us. So I think that they do have a certain sort of different emotional calibration because of their interaction with the tech world. And we didn't have that. I'm 38. And so I didn't have a cell phone until I went to college, and it was T9. And I was T9. And so we grew up with dial-up. And my parents had dial-up till I left. Their internet is still really bad because they live in the middle of nowhere. So I think that there is this different emotional thing. Their emotions are calibrated differently in this way. And I'm not saying better or worse, but just differently. And in a certain sense, I don't know if they respond to incentives in the same way older generations do. And so what that means is I don't know how the hell to change a lot of them. Now, granted, I don't know how to change a lot of millennials either. But what I would say is that, so I'm not only dumping on the Zoomers. I think that there are Zoomers who are searching and wanting for more. And I think that they do not like what they see. I think they're very self-aware. And I think, and I know some of them follow me. And I think that we're going to see maybe a separation of the Zoomers. And we might see, it's not going to be 50-50. It's not even going to be 199. It's more like 0.199. But I think that you will see, or we do have there's a very, very good element. There's a very good clan of Zoomers, but they're pretty far and few between. And I think that those people, they'll resonate with this.
Do we need to bring back public shaming?
Yes, absolutely. I mean, this is the thing. I mean, if you really want to get real about it, you could. you can't actually change this stuff voluntarily because people will always choose the easier route. This is just kind of like a nature of human. This is like a thing of human nature. People don't want to be better. You kind of have to make them be better. You have to kind of punish them in a way, make it worse to look bad. I mean, that's why people dressed well back in the old days. It wasn't because they were like, oh my gosh, I'm reading all this style stuff. No, they just knew like, if I look like crap, I'm not getting a job. If I look really bad, I'm not getting a girl. If I look really, really bad, my dad's going to kick me out of the house or something. You know, like just like you were like ostracized. You look bad. Like if you looked bad, people weren't going, your life was worse if you looked bad. And so if we make it so your life is worse if you look bad, people will dress better. It's just incentives, you know? So now is it possible to do that? I don't know. I don't have a lot of hope. I mean, how are we going to do that? I mean, you know?
Our country clubs the last bastion, the last line to hold, and from what I understand, they're even getting lax in some of their dress codes as well. Yeah. Some of them.
Yeah, you know, I think that it is, and I think in law you see the same thing. I have a lot of lawyer friends, and they say it's really declined in law. It used to be pretty formal, but around maybe I'll have to check these dates, but some of these guys, yeah, back in the 2000s, early 2000s, even into like 2008, 2010, guys were wearing suits. You know, that was the thing. But then it's really declined. And yeah, for court, if you're going to trial and stuff, or if you're in court, you have to wear a suit still. But everyone I know who's a lawyer says it's gotten a lot worse, even though it's still the last bastion. It's still holding a little bit. And it makes sense because it's a very formal profession. But since COVID, they've really accelerated downward too. I do think that there is a future where people do start basically requiring things in their restaurants. Not a lot. They're not saying a jacket, but know this. Know this. Kind of like I've seen stores saying no dogs. We don't allow dogs in here, because they're just sick of the dog thing. You could see people saying, I mean, it's a long way off, maybe 20 years or something, but you might see nice places saying you have to wear a shirt with a collar. And eventually that could, kids hate what their parents did. So maybe you could see kids hating their slot parents. You never know,
That is, I don't know, dox my exact location. This may do it to anybody who knows the area well, but there is a bar in the little island town that I live on in the summer that if you try to walk in there without a collared shirt, they kick you out, no hats. And
love that. That's awesome. I mean, if this could change, it could change on the private level like that, where we're not, I don't think, because this is the thing, and I'm not blaming anybody for this, because I'm not going to be walking up to people saying, hey, put on a collar shirt, like on the street. I'm not going to be going up to people criticizing them on the street from what they're wearing. But if you have establishments that have rules posted on the door, where then the people serving say, I'm just enforcing the rules. If you did see a move toward that, you would see an inching toward people dressing a little better. But that does involve some sort of compulsion. It involves you cannot go here unless you wear that.
Yeah.
And it doesn't put people.
No, if a group of us, I mean, I don't do it that much anymore. I've got children, but back in the day, before kids, if we knew we were going to that bar, it's like, all right, take off the hat, put on a collared shirt. Yeah. And even if you're going to another spot before that, if you know you want to ultimately end up there, it's like, I got to look good.
You got to look good. And people only respond to that. They're not going to do it voluntarily. Now, the people who follow me do it voluntarily, but it's this is just a small percentage of people. I mean, most people, and I'm not even saying this in some sort of cruel way, but I think human nature, a lot of our human nature is to choose the easiest route. That's just who we are. We need guide. We need guides to tell us what to do, kind of. And so we'll choose the easiest way unless you're an extremely high spirit person who will choose the, better way. And so, slow movements like that, if we were to see that would change stuff. And coupled with other stuff, that could change the culture. But as for Gen Z, how to target them specifically, I don't know. They respond to incentives in weird ways, and I'm not sure how to understand them.
Yeah. No, actually, I'm sure you're aware of Zuby on X. He posted a newsletter this morning about 10 lessons or 12 lessons for Generation Z men specifically. And I read it, and it's really good. And I think one thing that is missing from our culture also that contributes to this is like the lack of mentorship.
I was just going to say that. I knew where you were going. I could tell where you were going with this.
Mhm.
A lot of these guys grew up with no fathers. They grew up with fathers not showing them the way, and they don't know what the hell to do. They don't know what the hell to do. A lot of guys, because I do think some of the best Gen Z, they just want someone to tell them what to do. Some of them, some of the best Gen Z realize like, wow, we are like cooked as a generation. We didn't learn anything. Tell me what to do. Like there is a group of that, where they're like, is this what I do? Okay, that's what I do. And I think some of them didn't have dads showing them this sort of stuff. And that's a failure of mentorship.
Yeah. Yeah. Now I'm thinking like, obviously I have my children, I am their father, mentor, if you will, but like how to do it. Like we have a lot of young people that work for us here. I'm the oldest at the company, and we've got a couple new contractors that we've done a lot of work with, and they're, I think, 19 and 17. And it's been fun, sort of like interacting with them.
Yeah.
And not calling myself a mentor for them, but it's like something intentionally when we're going into meetings, like how do I present myself? And sometimes I forget, like I like to think of myself as a kid at heart. Like I think of who I was, a high school and college student, like late years. I like to think I still have that youthful spirit, but more recently is particularly interacting with these individuals in a professional setting. It's like, well, I'm like an older gentleman to them. I have to present like that. And
yeah. Like you're the Giga Chad in the boardroom meme. I just said that out last night. I said, this is how I feel. These guys, and yeah, like 17. I mean, you're twice as old. Like I'm twice as old as a guy who's 17. Like I could, like that. He could be my son. Like if I had kids, like I'm 38. If I had kids at the right time, that's old enough to like I could be my son. And so it's interesting taking that on. And I think a lot of something that, like you said, you feel like a kid at heart often, and you feel like, yeah, I still feel like I'm somewhat learning so much because we always learn so much in our lives. But then we also, I think, sometimes don't realize our skills compared to others, especially young people. And like, holy cow, they don't know this stuff. I'm sure you run into this all the time. I'm talking to someone and I assume they know what I'm talking about. I assume that they're already starting there. Like, I don't know the first 5 steps of what you're talking about, and you're like, oh my gosh, wow. Like they've never heard someone say, it is good to wear a shirt with a collar. It is better to dress nice. They've never heard that simple statement. They've never heard that. And so sometimes I think in almost understanding our old head status, it's almost realizing that they don't know everything we know, and not in a patronizing way, but maybe it's our job to kind of show them more or something.
Yeah. No, it's funny. I get, as we're discussing this, I'm getting notifications on my phone, and I'm in a group chat with a bunch of old head surfers, and they're just talking about the swell. And it's like little things like that, like growing up on this island and surfing with old heads, and they're teaching you not only how to surf, but where to look and stuff like that. Like, and now they were my mentor in the surfing world, and now we're in a group chat talking about where we're going to go surf a week from the swell comes.
And that's how it works. That's how it's supposed to work,
Yeah. Yeah, it's fun. We really need to bring that. How did you get into this? That's what I'm like. How did this become your focus and your passion in your life?
I started writing about style really primarily when I had kids. I had kids, and I just thought to myself, I was like, I realized how bad the world looked. I realized how bad everything looked, and I kind of want to make a difference, basically. And I thought, like, I need to do something. I feel useless if I'm not trying to make a better world for him in a certain sense. When I had a son first. I have a daughter as well. But I had a son first, and I'm not doing anything to make his world better. I can try to teach him, but like, I want to make some sort of change almost, And so then I started talking about this and writing about this, and I talk about other stuff too, and all of the things I write about, often I write about I try to only say things that I would want my kids encountering when they were 20, because I think about what all these other guys are encountering online. They're 20, 21, 22, you know what I mean? All the stuff that is not so great. And I think, like, what would I want my kids to encounter if they were sort of not knowing what to do in their 20s,
Yeah. Yeah. You're just inciting more thoughts about Gen Z, my like dating culture. Like, do you think the style of Gen Z has anything to do with this problem in dating culture that exists now?
Yeah. I mean, nobody looks good. My wife and I walk around the store, and we're seeing these like we see these kids, we'll walk around the store. You see these kids, they're like obviously in college. And the guys and girls look like absolute crap. They look so bad. And we're like, this is when you are supposed to be looking your best. You should be looking your best. You have the most to work with in your entire life at this point. And you are looking like guys and girls alike. You're looking absolutely terrible. You are not looking attractive to the opposite sex. You're not sexually enticing to them. And that's how it works. I don't want to tell you, and if you're just looking like you don't care.
Well, that, like, I think one of the, and who knows if this is wide ranging, I assume it is, but he knows how you'd be manipulated by videos you see on X. But the girl's saying, like, nobody's walking up to me. I don't think men have confidence to do that. Like, is it partly because they look like shit?
Yeah, dude, yes. If you look like shit, you're not going to approach a girl. And that gets back to just what we said at the very beginning of this. It sets your day on this confident. When you get ready, you are more confident. You're more competent. You feel stronger, all this sort of stuff. When you feel like crap, you're not going to have the stones to go approach some girl, to go talk to some girl because you feel like crap. And who knows? I've heard someone else say this. I don't remember who it was, but it's like you never know when you might meet the girl who could be your wife. And so if you're dressed for if you are single, you should be dressing good, looking good, because any girl that you that might be the one. And the other thing about the dress, about clothes too, is that there's all these ways you can look at it. You can look at it in a very moral, religious way. You can look at it in a very sort of like just let's get going way, a very professional way. And you can look at it in a very just brass tacks. How do I approach a girl so I can meet a girl? Or like, how can I look attractive to a girl? How can I, like, you can look for it for romance too. I need to meet girls. I need to meet a girl. I need to get married. You can look at it in a really brass tacks way. And what I try often with my message of clothing is I try to spread those messages out because we're all at different stages in life. We have kids. We're talking about how to show our boys how to dress, or our kids how to dress. The guy who's 23 is trying to meet girls. He needs to dress decent so the girl doesn't say, you look like an idiot, And same thing for the girl, by the way. She should be looking good instead of like an idiot,
Yeah. This is, why do you think there's not enough discussion around this topic too? Because it seems like you said, it's how you look, it's how you present. It's very primal almost to a sense, but something that has been neglected.
Yes. I think, why is there a lot of not discussion about this? I think that there's two things. There's one side of things where there's some people who are very, very traditional, and they're already on a very traditional track. There's people who are very, very conservative and very religious and very traditional. And if they're in that world, like really in that world, they're not comfortable talking about sexual attraction in the same way. So they're talking in these more like biblical sort of ways. Then the other people are so degenerated and they don't want anybody to tell them to do anything or try, and they're too lazy. They just want to complain about, the woman just wants to complain about men suck. Men just want to complain about the fact that women suck. No one wants to try to actually get anything done. That they don't want to talk about it, but then you do have the sliver of guys who are not like that. And I assume a sliver of girls who are not like that as well, though I don't know, because I don't talk to girls about this. I'm talking about guys. But I think that that's kind of why there's like this one group that they think you should focus on other things, and the other group, they're too lazy.
Yeah. Well, I'm happy you're focusing on it because I do think you and many others, I'm sure you've noticed that there's been this resurgence of aesthetic accounts on Twitter in recent years, often associated with conservative individuals, but I don't think dressing well is a political thing, right? But for some reason, the aesthetic accounts are more associated with conservative ideals, which is part of, which makes sense because these people want to return to traditionalist mindset, but
it's not. There's nothing inherently horse race political about dressing decently. It's civilizational. I think you can make an argument. Like I said, you can talk about this all these different ways. You can make an argument that, the tribe in the far-flung island wears loincloths because they're not civilized. That's not. I'm not saying it to be like cruel, but that's just like they're not a civilized thing. We have civilization, and so dressing decent is a form of civilization. and a participation in civilization. And so if there's this sensibility that left, woke, whatever is trying to tear down civilization, then a conservative traditionalist will be the sort of trying to push the aesthetic realm. Something I like about clothes, and I do like about clothes so much, is that it requires action daily. You know, a lot of people will, it's one thing to post a picture of a beautiful building and not be an architect, but just like it. It's another to put on your clothes and walk out into the world and it really influence the world, make the world more beautiful on your own. You know, when you do that, you are making the world more beautiful. You are taking action to do that. And that is a fulfilling thing and an important thing. And that's what I really like about clothes. It requires that action every day. It's not just one thing. It's constantly doing it. And you're always participating in the beautification of the world and influencing other guys.
Yeah. Does that action start the night before? Like, do you know what you're going to wear when you wake up, or is it an explorative sort of practice in the mornings?
For me, it's all in the morning. I don't do anything the night before. And you know, it takes me like 2 minutes to get ready in the morning. Once you have your wardrobe set, I just know exactly. I was like, boom, boom, boom. I got it. You know, I just know what I'm wearing. People imagine that I'm spending like a lot of time thinking about it, but it's really everything locks into place because I know what I'm doing. But for me, it's in the morning. I dress for how I feel in the morning, for what the weather is, not just the temperature, but also if it's gray, I'm going to wear darker colors. You know, I'm going to wear, and even if it's summer, if it's like a sort of gray, rainy day, I'll wear like a darker mod dress. You know, a mod dress is a sort of a plaid set on a very, very thin cotton. I'll wear a really dark mod dress. I'm not going to wear, say, a pink, like a pink stripe, like a pink university stripe short sleeve Oxford shirt on a rainy day. But I might on a sunny day, and I wear on a sunny day. And so I'll change what I wear based on the weather. And so I do it in the morning.
Yeah. All right. I need to hand up accountability. I need to fix my morning routine. It's not as intentional as maybe it should be.
Feels good for me. I mean, listen, it makes me feel. There's so much chaos. You got kids. How old are your kids?
5 and 3.
Okay, yeah, same for me. Okay, so for me. So I know where you're coming from. It's a lot of chaos. It keeps me. It's 30 minutes of order that gets it going in the day. Right.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, I saw your tweet the other day about having the morning coffee before the family woke up. That's the state I would like. When I do have those mornings, it is incredibly impactful on the rest of the day.
Yes. It's the hour. It's the hour of the father. The hour of the father before.
Yeah. This is well. Thank you for doing what you're doing, honestly. And I'm not trying to blow smoke up your butt, but honestly, I think just simply by posting on X, you've had a positive influence, not only myself, but many others, to really appreciate trying to look better, to raise a higher bar for civilization.
I really appreciate that. I mean, it really means a lot for you to say. I'm serious. Like, to me, that's what it's about. It's trying to make a positive difference, you know, and in a real way, in a way that is scalable. And when I hear about guys who say, wow, like this really, I get it now. And it's really, and when I see that positive growth, the world can feel like we can't control a lot of it. And there is a lot that we can't control. And maybe we're dissatisfied with something that's going on or whatever. But we have to realize what we can control. What's our sphere of influence? And a lot of that starts with what's on our body. You know, it starts right here. It's really close, you know? So let's start there, and then we can make other impacts. And that's the way, because I tweet about style, and then I tweet about other stuff that is somewhat related. It's about modern life and all sorts of all of this. And we have to start where we are. And we can make a difference in that way and make a difference for ourselves and others. Because something that we don't realize is, you know, if you dress nice, you wearing this shirt, this Oxford shirt, you're wearing a collar shirt, you don't know. Because think about it. You could walk into the store and a guy who's 15, 16, 19, see and say, that looks really nice. I never really see people wear that as much anymore. I want to wear that. And he's never going to tell you. You're never going to know. He's never going to say that to you. But you influenced him. You influenced him in a positive way. And when I realized that, I realized people don't always tell you that you influence them. And this is where dressing decently can not only benefit your life, but even others who don't even talk to you. And you'll never know it. But that's how influence sort of fans out in a positive way, I think.
Completely agree. Think about it. Anybody listening to this, dress better. To set a positive influence out there. W, where can anybody listening to this find out more about what you're doing, schedule a consultation potentially?
Absolutely. Oh yeah, I love doing consultations. I love working with guys. Working with guys individually is it's so awesome because you see, I love getting guys started on their style journey and then seeing them develop their personal style, teaching them the fundamentals and seeing them grow, and then circle back after 2 years, see where they are, and it's just wow, what a difference! It's just amazing. So where you can find me is first of all on X. Necktie Salvage is my username. You can find me on Instagram, Necktie Salvage as well. There's a link tree in my bio on X with a link to a bunch of stuff, to the fitting room, which is my Substack, which is my Substack where I write about style, and a link to everything else. My DMs are open for consultation. The real place where you can find me for everything is on Substack, Instagram, and Twitter. And on Twitter, there'll be a link in the link tree with a link to everything where you can find me and contact me and read what I have to say about style. And I send out a morning memo every single day or every single weekday. Short little bits to get you going, to give you ideas, to guide you slowly over time, because it's a long process. You can't understand everything you need to know about style in 2 days, but trying it out helps. So that's where you can find me: X, Necktie Salvage, Instagram, Linktree, the bio there. That'll give you a link to everything else.
Go check it out.
Thank
you for doing this, and thank you for engaging me as I'm sweating profusely in front of you. It's
what temperature is it there, man? What
it's
is
90 degrees.
Oh my God. Oh, geez, Louise. Actually,
I like the heat though.
Yeah, the thing is, it's actually pretty warm here. Let me see what it is right here. Oh man, Northern Michigan. It's actually pretty divine. It's 77. I'm going to go to the beach. Like right after this, I'm going to the beach. So no, it's a nice day here.
Yeah. Well, enjoy the beach. Thank you so much for your time and what you're doing. Hopefully we can do this again at some point in the future.
Oh, thank you for having me. It was such a pleasure, such a joy, such an awesome conversation, and I would love to do it again.
All right. That's all today, freaks. Peace and love.
Freaks, thank you for listening to the show. I hope you liked it. If you did like it, please make sure you subscribe, rate, review the show. It helps us out a lot. And also, if you like these conversations, I've come to realize that many people listen to the podcast. They don't know we have another sort of layer of this media company. We have the newsletter, the Bitcoin Brief. Go to tfttc.io. Make sure you subscribe there. A lot of the topics that are discussed on this podcast, I write about 5 days a week in the newsletter. We also have the TFTC Elite tier. If you sign up for that, become a member. We have a private Discord server for the elite freaks out there where we're dropping ad-free versions of this show and having discussions about everything we talk about a day early. Logan wanted me to make sure if you want to get the show a day early, become a TFTC Elite member. You will get that. We have our Discord server. Right now it's conversation between myself and TFTC Elite tier members, but we're going to expand that. We'll probably do closed Q&As with people in the industry. I may be doing Macro Mondays. So join us. Go to tfttc.io. Subscribe. Find the button in the top right corner of the website. Become a TFTC Elite member. Thank you for joining us. Okay.